Kingsley Makhubela is its new Chief Executive Officer for the period 2015 to 2020. Mr Makhubela has had an illustrious and distinguished career in the public service, having recently concluded his tenure as the Director General of the Department of Tourism. Brand South Africa, of course, is the official marketing agency of South Africa, with a mandate to build the country's brand reputation in order to improve its global competitiveness. Well, in studio with us, we have the CEO. So good to have you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Leah.
And a big congratulations to you. It's a big position to be holding, but nonetheless, I'm sure you have what it takes.
Thanks indeed.
Yeah. Now, we talk about Brand South Africa. You come from the Department of Tourism, the DG in the Department of Tourism. How different are the two positions?
Well, they are similar in a way. But Brand South Africa is much more broader than the Department of Tourism, because we were specifically focusing on tourism. Here we're focusing on social issues, we're focusing on economic issues and political issues that are forming the foundation of the country.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like you say, I mean, the whole idea of a brand is creating this brand of South Africa that people want to be a part of. They want to invest in it. They want to come and visit us. They don't want to miss out on it. How do you think the brand is doing right now as you come in and take office?
Well, the brand is doing very well, I must say. If you look at the credibility of the country and the standing of the country globally, we're doing very well. Domestically, we're doing very well. There are a few projects that the brand is undertaking now, like Play Your Part, which really encourages citizens to take a meaningful role in the promotion of the brand.
Yeah. I mean, South Africa certainly does do well when it comes to investment from outside parties into the economy and into the country, but it doesn't come without a lot of difficulty. I mean, there's a lot of events in the country that certainly they make it hard to get investment.
To attract foreign investment, we're competing with other states, and that's why the need to really build on the credibility of our brand as a destination of choice for people to come and invest in this country. Not only to invest economically, but to invest on social issues in the country, to strengthen our institutions, to strengthen our education institutions. So we need to attract a variety of skills into the country.
Yeah, we certainly do. I mean, that's a big thing. But how do you think we can do that? I mean, what is your standpoint on that?
I think there are a lot of issues that we need to deal with. For instance, there's something that we haven't been promoting as a country, as a destination for education. If you look at how our institutions of higher education are faring globally, we're doing very well. So we need to really speak out about some of these developments that we're having, or achievements we're having in the country, to be able to attract the best brains around the world, to equally attract students around the world to come and study in this country. And by doing that, they would generate a lot of jobs and so on, and develop our own economy. Yeah.
All right, so we talk about that as an issue, but one of the other big issues I think that's hampering Brand South Africa is certainly these visa regulations that have now come into play. And I mean, I've been away for a while, so I've been reading it from afar, but different conversations between the Minister of Tourism and the Minister in Home Affairs, and they sort of going head to head on this. But what's your perspective?
Leanne, you know, the way this institution of governance works, it's so interesting. The decision to come up with the new regulation came from the cabinet. And once people started to complain, once issues were raised about the unintended consequences of the visa regulation, the president then decided to appoint an interministerial committee to revisit that matter. Mind you, the state acts in a rational way. You can't, once you hear something, you automatically act. But I think there's a system that is in place to review that and look at the unintended consequences. Mind you, the visa regulation was intended to address human trafficking. I saw international media during the weekend that it's a multi-billion-dollar business around the world. So we need to deal with that issue. Mm-hmm. But we need to deal with that issue in such a way that it doesn't affect our own economic interests, because we really need tourists to come into this country. So I think there's a system that is in place. Let's see what the outcome of that system is.
Yeah, certainly do. And I mean, like you say, to attract the tourists and not make it more difficult for them, because it is a long-haul flight and it is a long destination to come to. So people will see all this paperwork and say, oh, you know what, let's just go somewhere else rather. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want tourists to be turned away, but at the same time, you need to protect
Absolutely.
what it's there for.
And you know, tourists and people in general, all of us, we're very compliant.
Yeah.
When in the US, after the 9/11, there were much more stricter conditions put in place. People were able to comply with them as long as they know what they are, as long as the systems are in place to be able to cater for those people. Yeah. So I think similarly, those are issues that are going to be looked into by the Interministerial Committee.
Yeah, good. You know, besides working in tourism, I mean, that's not what you're all about. I mean, you've done so much as well. In fact, working in the presidency as well, working with all of South Africa's democratic presidents that we've had here running the country, whether it come to protocol and doing things within the office as well, and working in the office of the president. I imagine this diplomatic experience is also going to hold you in good stead over these next 5 years.
I hope so. I hope the understanding of how the world functions and how we need to position ourselves will really help to position our own brand as a country.
What do you think we're doing wrong?
Wrong? I think, I wouldn't say wrong, but I'm saying what are the shortcomings of the brand? We tend to shoot ourselves in the foot. We are emphasizing more on the shortcomings that we are having as a country. We're not speaking about achievements that we are making as a country. And I think as a brand, we really need to advocate more of the achievements that we make in the country, because our survival as a country does not depend on our shortcomings as such, but how we manage the shortcomings that we're having as a country. It's very crucial. Yeah. And we need to talk about those things and encourage people to deal with the shortcomings and be able to be forward-looking. I think the problem is that we are sometimes our own enemies. Each time there's a small thing, it's as if the country has come to a standstill. And yet there are a lot of things that are working in the country. Yeah,
there certainly are. And I have to say one thing. I mean, whenever, and I think you could agree with me. I mean, when you come back into South Africa, if you've been away for a while and you come back and you pick up a newspaper, it looks like the country's falling apart when you read the reports and the things coming out of South Africa, as opposed to sometimes highlighting the amazing work that we're doing. And we are doing so much good, and I think that needs to be emphasized, and I think that's pretty much so what you're mentioning here as well.
In the lingua franca, in the township, we'll say bad news sells.
It does.
I think that's where people are going. Do we really have to sell the bad news about ourselves? No, we don't have to do that. Our responsibility is to project ourselves and show how competitive we are amongst other nations. People are not going to come into this country because we're doing bad. People are going to come into this country because there are a lot of things that are working. There are a lot of things that they can access in this country.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it doesn't come without its challenges. And in fact, the chairperson, when she announced your appointment, Ms. Chichi Mapanya, she actually said that you were coming in at a very challenging time. What do you think she meant by that?
I think the time is challenging because our economy is not doing very well. You may have seen the report by the Minister of Finance in terms of the projected growth. I think there's a major challenge that all of us, we need to attract foreign direct investment to come into this country. That would have to deal, that once we attract that, would then have to deal with all the social issues that we're having in the problem, in the country.
Yeah. Just, I suppose, on a closing note, how can South Africans help and support you? Because we are the brand. We are brand South Africa, and that's what we need to project.
I think all of us, we need to ensure that we put the systems in place, we make this brand credible, and we deal with the challenges that are related to the brand. But we must all understand that for us to succeed, we're not going to be sulking and talking about problems. We need to come up with innovative solutions that will strengthen the brand.
All right, thank you for talking to us.
Thanks
we
indeed.
Wish you the best of luck, and I know we'll see you many, many more times over these next 5 years in your position as CEO of Brand South Africa. Kingsley Makhubela, thank you again for being with us.
Thank you, Leanne.
All right, let's take a break here on the program.